Thank you very much, dear panelists. And I would like to invite on stage Mr. Baybars Altuntas, Chairman of the World Business Angels Investment Forum, Mrs. Lin O'Grady, Associate Director and co-lead Green Cities from the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development, Mr. Christian Urabl, PCT World Vice President Corporate Relations, and we should have online Mrs. Nejia Gharbi, Managing Director at CDC, which is the Deposits and Consignment Fund, and Mr. Salar Mohammed Amin, Chairman of National Investment Commission. Can you tell me if they are online? Oh, I guess they are online. So I would oh, no, this is Nejia Gharbi, okay. Welcome, Nejia.
Welcome.
Honored to have you with us. Thank you. Is Mr. Salar connected? Can we check if Mr. Salar is connected? Can we have both speakers on the screen, or is it difficult? Oh, no, okay. Okay, so let's give the floor first to Mr. Baybars Altuntas.
Thank you very much. Invention was very important in 1950s, 60s, but today innovation that counts. But who will convert invention to innovation? Entrepreneurs. Why innovation is very important today? Because almost everything invented, and the demand is for something that will be very instrumental and useful for the customer. This is what we are calling as innovation, as a matter of fact, very practically. But entrepreneurs of today have a challenging issue. Access to finance is very important for them, and unfortunately, entrepreneurs in post-pandemic times are suffering financially. So, I think water didn't enjoy. So, converting public finance to smart finance can be a good solution to support entrepreneurs of today for their business and digital transformation phases. And I think it is very important to include smart finance centers in smart cities to support entrepreneurs in their post-pandemic entrepreneurial journey. Corporate venture capital can be an interesting instrument to support them, and mobilizing international companies to open their corporate venture departments to meet the demand coming from startups and also the invested startups in order to include more smart entrepreneurs in the game. Entrepreneurs today have different sources of finance available, from ICO to IPO, mainly venture capitals, banks, co-investment funds, government grants, VCs, crowdfunding platforms, angel investors. One of them is different than others, angel investors. Why? Because they are putting more than money. They are putting their mentorship, networking, and also know-how, which is a bundle, a smart bundle for entrepreneurs. In order to compete in global markets, entrepreneurs need smart finance, which is provided by angel investors. 320,000 angel investors invested 9.6 billion euro last year in Europe, and $26 billion invested by 340,000 angel investors in the United States and Canada the year before. The total size of the angel investor market for early stage equity markets is around $50 billion in the world. I am very pleased to announce that the World Business Angels Investment Forum is going to incubate the LACBAN, Latin American and the Caribbean Trade Association for Business Angels, in cooperation with the Foreign Affairs Ministry of Mexico in Mexico City. We have announced the establishment of this important association with the inclusion of almost 30 countries from the region, from the Latin America and the Caribbean last week. The World Business Angels Investment Forum has economic cooperation agreement with the government of Mexico, with the government of Kosovo, with the government of Mali, and we have 10 country offices in 10 different cities in Africa, Asia, Middle East, and in Southeast Europe. The WBAF has around 1,400 partners in 132 countries, and it is a great pleasure for me to announce that the 2023 projects will include more financial inclusion and digital inclusion projects. If you visit id.wbaforum.org, then you will have access, free access to all amenities of the WBAF online, because we spent so much time and budget to complete the digital transformation of our organization. Financial inclusion, enhancement of digital inclusion, promoting gender equality, and easing access to finance are 4 main pillars of the World Business Angels Investment Forum. And we are one of the affiliated global partners of the G20. We are in the board of the Global Partnership for Financial Inclusion, GPFI, which is chaired by the Queen Maxima of the Netherlands. And WBF is very proud of advocating the importance of digital and business transformation for boosting economies at the G20 level. I am thanking so much to organizers for inviting the WBAF to this particular event of the world, and thank you very much again for listening to me. Thank you.
Very much, Baybars. I know you have to leave us very early, so I'm going to call you for a signature of our joint certificate with Peace City World.
Yes.
Okay, with Mr. John Mavrak, please. Welcome on stage. So you have 3. You will be invited after your speech, okay?
There comes a time when we heed a certain call, when the world must come together as one. There are people dying. Oh, when it's time to lend a hand to life, the greatest gift of all. We can't go on pretending day by day that someone somewhere will soon make a change. We all a part of God's great big family. And the truth, you know, love is all we need.
Thank you. Bye-bye. May I check with production if Iraq is connected? Mr. Salar? No? Okay, no Iraq. Okay, sorry. Let me invite on to this desk Ms. Lin O'Grady, Associate Director and Co-Lead Green Cities from the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development. Mr. Lin, the floor is yours. Do you want to speak from there or from here?
I'll speak from...
Yes, okay.
I'll speak from up there, I think.
Yes.
I didn't
you're most
realize
welcome.
this was live.
And for your presentation, if needed, you have this.
I don't have a presentation.
Okay, good.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen and distinguished participants of the Peace City World Congress, I'm delighted to be here, and Nejia, thank you very much for your invitation. So my name is Lin O'Grady, and I work for the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development, which is headquartered in London. And my main responsibility is now working on the EBRD Green Cities program. And for the next 10 minutes or so, I will share with you my experiences on how the bank delivers climate finance and facilitates the development of sustainable and smart cities. So just to give you some background on EBRD, because I imagine that many of you have not heard of this organization. So EBRD is an international financial institution. It was founded in 1991 when the former Soviet Union was divided, and it is owned by 71 governments across the globe, including Spain. And actually Spain are a very active shareholder and really support the Green Cities program. To date, the bank has invested over 180 billion euros in public and private projects across 3 continents. And these continents are North Africa, Central and Eastern Europe, right through to the east to Central Asia, Turkey, and Mongolia. These operations span infrastructure, which is where I sit in the bank and have done for many, many years. It also covers manufacturing, capital markets, agriculture, and many other sectors. And if any of you haven't grasped what EBRD is, I think in simplistic terms, it's a hybrid of the World Bank and IFC on a regional basis. We're not global, we are regional, but still very impactful. So the bank is also at the forefront of climate finance and Paris alignment, and as such, all the bank's investments are aligned with and assessed against climate goals, and a wide spectrum of financial instruments are deployed. So this is where cities come in, and I will be repeating what many of the previous speakers have said, but I think it's very, very important. So rolling the clock back 4 years to October 2019, the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres concluded that cities are where the climate battle will largely be won or lost. And I think many of you remember some of the messaging coming out of COP27, when the UN Secretary General was also saying that we are at a tipping point, which is so true. Cities account for 70% of energy use and 3/4 of greenhouse gas emissions. Also, a lack of infrastructure investments makes cities highly vulnerable to the effect of climate change, from extreme weather events to rising temperatures or sea levels. This was one of the key discussion points, again returning to COP27, in the context of compensation for loss and damages requested by developing countries. I'm currently working in Alexandria in Egypt on the Mediterranean. When we talk to the governor there, the discussion is all about investments that will focus on climate resilience because of the rising sea level in that city. The bank's response to these challenges is the flagship EBRD Green Cities program. Since 2016, in the wake of the Paris Agreement, the bank has invested 2.2 billion euro in 80 green and sustainable infrastructure projects. These projects include the modernization of the metro in Tbilisi, Georgia, to get people out of their cars, and it also included the introduction of more energy efficiency technologies. Another project is solar district heating in Pristina. to reduce dependency on fossil fuels, which is something that we want to roll out in the Western Balkans and beyond. A third project, and I could go on and on and on, is the retrofit of buildings in Chisinau in Moldova to tackle demand-side measures to reduce heat loss and also install rooftop solar. These projects all have impact and in aggregate amount to annual CO2 savings of 4.5 million tonnes, which is equivalent each year to taking 970,000 cars off the road. Moreover, when a city joins the programme, it becomes part of a thriving and growing network now of over 50 green cities, all with the collective ambition of a green and sustainable and also smart future. To achieve this impact, EBRD works closely with cities to systematically prioritise and then finance environmental and climate-related infrastructure investments. So for each city, the programme rests on two pillars, namely first, the development of a Green City Action Plan, better known as a GCAP, which enables the city to prioritise investments required to address the most urgent environmental challenges using a baseline of 35 indicators. And second, the investments themselves to help the city finance the GCAP identified priority actions. This is simple, but it is very, very effective. It's also important to note that these GCAP actions are not exclusively for EBRD to finance. Critically, this programme does not stand still and adapts to the needs of the hour and the challenges of our time. So we responded to the COVID pandemic by retooling the GCAPs to include a risk and vulnerability assessment, together with more emphasis on gender, inclusion, and digital solutions. More recently, the GCAPs in Ukraine have been adjusted to take into account the needs of internally displaced people, and the GCAP for Khmelnytsky, which is in the western part of Ukraine, has just been completed on this basis. And I want to note that we have 7 EBRD green cities in Ukraine, and they remain very much part of this programme. The integration of smart solutions is also a key feature of the programme, and let me just give you a couple of examples. So going east, Ulaanbaatar in Mongolia completed its GCAP in 2019, and not surprisingly, poor air quality was highlighted as a major challenge, which is particularly acute in winter due to heating with coal. Through a $10 million investment, EBRD supported Ulaanbaatar in modernizing its central district heating infrastructure, which also integrates smart meters. The project will not only significantly reduce greenhouse gas emissions and hence improve the city's air quality, but it will also enhance energy efficiency, helping citizens to keep their energy costs low. Another example is in Ganja in Azerbaijan, a city that joined EBRD Green Cities in 2020, where EBRD financed 2 projects in solid waste and another one in street lighting. The first project helps to improve waste collection in the city through smart technologies. GPS-tracked vehicles and bins equipped with sensors enable advanced route planning for waste collection. The second project improves the energy efficiency and the quality of street lighting in the city through the replacement of inefficient light bulbs with LED technology, coupled with an automated lighting control technology. These projects deliver green and smart ambition, and EBRD is proud of these achievements. Let me conclude by saying that we depend on our cities, together with organisations and governments that provide grants and concessional funding to blend with EBRD financing. These are our partners. To conclude, so that I can illustrate what has been achieved in this programme and you can get a real impression from our cities and voices from citizens, I would like to show you a short video about the programme. Thank you very much for your attention.
Баянгар аймгийн жаргалантсан нас орж ирээ 5 жил болж байна. Манай Улаанбаатарт чинь агаарын бохирдол ихтэй хүүхдүүдийн эрүүл мэндэд маш муу хорнууд ихтэй байна.
Ulaanbaatar in Mongolia has some of the worst air pollution in the world. But the city is developing a more sustainable future as part of EBRD Green Cities.
Агаарын чанарыг сайжруулахад бол хэд хэдэн зүйл байна. Нэгдүгээрт бид нар түүхийн нүүрс буюу түлшээ өөрчлөх ёстой.
Cities face enormous environmental challenges, and as the source of nearly 3/4 of global greenhouse gas emissions, are central actors in the battle against climate change. We are committed to working with all our partner green cities to ensure a greener and more prosperous future for their citizens, especially as they emerge from the current pandemic.
From Central Asia to the southern Mediterranean, cities across regions are signing up. Being an EBRD Green City is important for Oman.
Green cities to me means for the city to become sustainable. We need also to cater for what the citizens would want, what are their aspirations from the city, what are the main challenges that they are facing in their daily life that's affecting them.
Oman is already addressing some of its urban challenges, such as solid waste. But they hope, as an EBRD Green City, they can achieve even more.
طبعا كثير مرات يعني لما بصير في انفعالات عندنا كثير يعني وتختلط مع بعض بتمنى الواحد انه يفصلها عن بعض هيك ممكن اعاده تدويرهم.
In Banja Luka, in Bosnia-Herzegovina, residents can already feel the difference that becoming an EBRD Green City makes.
Izbjegavam da trčim po gradu, barem ranije je to bio slučaj jer je mnogo auta, mnogo je vazduh zagađen. Sad se osjeti malo poboljšanja po pitanju toga, lakše se trči.
Wood chips, sustainably sourced from the local area, are being used to power the city's district heating plant.
Banja Luka je trošila negdje preko 220.000 tona mazuta, a prelaskom na ovaj sistem dobili smo jedan čist grad, zeleni grad, u kom koristimo isključivo obnovljive izvore energije i imamo stabilno i kvalitetno grijanje.
The city is now looking at making the system even more efficient, using thermal drone images to map and reduce heat loss. Across regions, EBRD Green Cities is creating a more sustainable future.
Нэг агаараа ганцгалдаг учраас бүгд энэ одоо ирэхээ идэх ёстой.
Thank you very much, Lin. Before you sit, may I invite you to sign the certificate with Peace City Word. 3. Right.
Can you take that EU flag off?
Sorry? Yes. I don't have the EBRD flag, sorry. Yeah.
it's time to lend a hand to life, the greatest gift of all. We can't go on pretending day by day that someone somewhere will soon make a change. We all a part of God's great big family. And the truth, you know, love is all we need. We are the world. We are the children.
Do we have Iraq online? Do we have Tunisia online? Yes, please. So let's invite Mrs. Nejia Gharbi for her speech. Mrs. Nejia Gharbi is the Managing Director of CDC, which is Deposits and Consignment Fund. Nejia, can you hear us?
Yes,
Great. So the mic is yours.
thank you, thank you. I will go.
Dear Nejia, you are online. We hear you, we see you.
Yes, I try to share my screen. You see my screen or
Oh, no,
not yet?
No, we see Richard's screen, which is very interesting.
Okay.
Production, can you advise if she can share her screen, or do you have her presentation?
I will start without screen, without presentation. I'm Nejia Gharbi. I'm CEO of Caisse de dépôt et consignation CDC Tunisia. Unfortunately, I couldn't attend this honorable Congress. I will try to do my presentation in order to present briefly the CDC and also our strategy and how we can finance smart cities. CDC is a public institution created in 2011 to support the country's economic and social development in terms of long-term investment. The CDC acts as a long-term investor serving the country's public priorities and policies. Our investment land to a broad range of development impact, which has a transformative effect on sector and Tunisia's economy. The CDC resources come mainly from deposit of Caisse Épargne Nationale Tunisienne, it's Épargne Centre, and consignation from General Treasury of Tunisia, and also fund guaranteed by the state, financial lines under management, and finally, we have the cumulative net result. Considering its unique economic model, its mode of governance, investment strategy, and risk management policy, the CDC plays the role of the trusted third party by stimulating the investment sector. In fact, the CDC is not governed by law of public companies, but we have 3 strategy committees and 3 executive committees, which gives a flexibility in the process of private company spirit management. We have no restriction for partnership with either private, public, NGO, international partner, or as we welcome both direct and indirect investor. Through our investment, we seek to concretize our three values: innovation, commitment, and trust. Thus, to have a strong and positive social as well as environmental impact and demonstrative effect. CDC are some key our activity. We have some investment portfolio, including 21 projects, and we subscribed into more than 20 local and international funds. We are also a gender-sensitive institution. We have perfect gender diversity and equality in our work environment. Our strategy direction and pillar have been adopted to guide CDC action. In fact, the top priorities of CDC are to support the recovery and the development of innovative, competitive, and job-creating enterprises, reinforcing the infrastructure for competitiveness and an inclusive economy, supporting digital and technological transformation, supporting the energy and ecological transition for a low-carbon and climate-resilient economy, and contributing to the development of the financial market. Zoom on support digital and technological transformation pillar, which aims to supporting digital and technological infrastructure, supporting high technological and digital value project to promote competitiveness and enhance global value chain position, and supporting national strategy to move toward digitalized, efficient, and agile public service. Also, to zoom on support the energy and the ecological transition, this strategy ecological strategy is based on contributing to the country's energy dependence reduce, contributing to address water stress issues and environmental issues solving, contributing to build resilient economy in regard to climate change, and contributing to the greenhouse gases reduction. The CDC adopted this strategic financial pillar and objectives in order to assess positive social and environmental impact and to align and contribute with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals by funding the social and economic development. Why do we need smart cities investment? Smart cities application could affect various quality of life dimension, safety, time of convenience, health, environment, quality, job, and the cost of living. The wide range of outcomes reflect the fact that applications perform differently from city to city, depending on factors such as legacy, infrastructure system, and on baseline starting points. After all, a smart city is a municipality that uses information and communication technology to increase operational efficiency, share information with the public, and improve both the quality of government service and citizen welfare. So, by upgrading technology infrastructure and unlocking public data, smart cities can open up new value chain and opportunities. Cities can be catalyzed for better health by delivering a cleaner and more sustainable environment and creating a new type of digital urban common and enhance social connectedness. A smart city success depends on its ability to form a strong relationship between the government, including the bureaucracy and regulation, and the private sector. This relationship is necessary because most of the work that is done to create and maintain a digital data-driven environment occurs outside of the government. Moreover, government financial institute could play a major role in the financing of such type of project. Therefore, a smart city success becomes more focused on building positive relationship than on completing a single project. Institutional investors seeking yield and looking to meet their long-term liability have long been touted as ideal sources of funding for infrastructure, mainly smart cities projects. Therefore, the best outcome to develop and finance smart cities come from partnership and co-coordination with major national playing agency, private sector, developer, and investors, whether institutional or venture capital and citizen. Therefore, projects where the government has ongoing shared role within the project can align interest with the investor. CDC has included green and renewable energy investment among its strategy priorities and has set itself the strategic goal for supporting the energy and ecological transition to a low-carbon economy that is resilient to climate change. Hence, we target projects that aim at improving the quality of life, which can be achieved throughout the concept of smart cities. To help regions take advantage of their unique assets, CDC provides technical and financial advice for public partners, as well as financing for smart cities projects. Transformation cities and making them smart and more sustainable are important goals for our investment approach as the state's financial arm of sustainable development. The CDC supports a broad range of urban projects. Despite the broad scope of projects, we support our investment aim at helping urban areas deliver significant improvement in terms of infrastructure development, intelligent and sustainable mobility, better water and waste management system, and other municipal service and facilities. Given the diversity of potential smart cities projects are boroughs, several CDC's finance instruments could be potentially used for the financing of smart cities investment. CDC can provide both equity and quasi-equity financing. The contribution of the CDC can take the form of a direct shareholding in the project at the creation or development stage, or an indirect contribution through the subscription to investment fund that target different type of companies, startups, VCs, SMEs, etc. Direct investment, direct equity investment are a source of long-term financing that is flexible enough to handle change in the investment program. Our time, they can be used to finance multiple small and medium-sized projects. Equity invest through subscription in funds. We can support smart cities project through our equity investment, for example, through a pure private equity fund for financial instrument. We work with new and established fund managers, both in traditional and innovative segments that are not yet mainstream. Given the nature of smart city project and their payback period, CDC can also take part in public-private partnership within the framework of a smart city project. The minimum invest ticket of CDC is 5 million dinars. The total investment committee made by CDC must be not exceed 20% of the overall value of a given project. This cap can be extended up to 40% of the total of investment value in case of project initiated by CDC and approved by its supervisory commission. This main decision make authority of CDC. CDC could also help to catalyze a pool of other public and private financing for investment in a portfolio of projects with a given thematic and or geography focus. So smart cities, renewable and energy efficiency related projects are most welcomed and valued for us as a public investor. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Nejia Gharbi. Now I think we need to connect with Iraq.
I try to respect time.
Thank you very much for your contribution and for your efforts to speak English. I know you are more comfortable in Arabic and French, so very grateful for your efforts. Thank you very much. And we wished you would be with us next time, inshallah.
Next time, inshallah.
Thank you. Always easy with many countries. Is it coming or not? No, okay, sorry. So let's move to the next. I would like to invite my friend and colleague, Christian Urabl, who is the Vice President in charge of corporate relations within Peace City World, to share with us about Peace City World insurance. It should be working.
No, it's not. Hello, hello. Ah, no. Okay. Okay. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I promise I will make it really short, and as especially insurance, it's not a really sexy topic in development, but it's a very crucial one and essential for every investment as such. So what is insurance essentially? It's a cornerstone of the economic and social development, and it provides a critical safety network particularly for the most vulnerable one. Insurance is also one of the largest expenses in a project, but essential to its success as such. And insurance is not about avoiding risk, but essentially to transfer the risks away from the entity that's getting the insurance. So we as Peace City World, we are engaging in top insurance advisory in order to create our Peace City World insurance, captive insurance. What is the advantage of establishing such an entity, and what does it mean to us? Essentially, it drives cheaper premiums by making all projects a singular client, and therefore we get discount on the scale of project. It controls the access to the insurance and the reinsurance market, and as such also reduces the cost of risk then. It gives a broader coverage to all the projects, and it reduces the overall cost of insurance and for the capital of the projects. Additionally, it leads to a more stable source of financing, and it fills the gaps additionally for insurance coverages in times where the market is not really stable and a troubled insurance market. Additionally, we can have the ability to overcome exclusions or other restrictions applied by the commercial market. And it enables the development, especially in developing countries, of tailored insurance policies. If you look now at the kind of setup, how this is going to work, essentially the premiums of all the Peace City World projects, starting Salamanca, Africa, wherever it is, will lead to premiums that flows from the projects into by law into a regulated fronting company, which in developing countries will have no risk retention. It will pass any risk to the Peace City World Insurance Company. In Spain, for example, the local insurer would take about 10 to 15% of the risk. So essentially, in year one, Peace City World is an incorporated and licensed insurer. Its function is mainly an administrative one. It takes all the control of the insurance and risk management procurement and defines the direct access to the insurance market, especially also the reinsurance market. So with that in hand, everything as such what we have as such as an administrative power will transfer then to the global reinsurance market. So everything from the project on premiums goes via a certain commission minus a certain commission to the global insurance market, so all the risk is transferred to the reinsurance market of our partners like Swiss Re, Munich Re, AIG or Mavrak, for example. Then as a second stage, as these projects develop and more projects come online, also the premiums increase. And as you see also on the left side, there are some value streams or inflow of cash flows coming from the premiums. This will increase, and as such, Peace City World Insurance is in the second step becoming a kind of also cost-saving tool for all our partners. So with that in mind, we can retain additional risks and as such can also get them from the insurance market cheaper insurance. The risk what we take on, we will transfer right away to the global reinsurance market, and as such will not expose anything of our projects to any risk essentially. It helps us to create an additional vehicle to save costs and optimize the projects. Additionally, for future projects in the developing countries, this will be an essential tool to facilitate niche products which are not really there on the market and will help also the local communities. With our local reinsurance partners and insurance partners have a huge appetite on these markets but don't have the access to them because of distribution problems and of course of problems in getting to these markets via their agents as such. So as such, Peace City World Insurance will allow those global insurance companies get into areas like what's essential for the local population in the area of agriculture, health, Medicare, life insurance, also problems with when there's an earthquake or something like that, catastrophic insurance, and help develop those countries and also give them better financing as such. So to summarize, what we will do, we will be the gateway through which we will implement all our insurance procurements across all our projects. And we greatly value the importance of insurance as such, as it's strategic for the success, and consequently we will have identified also in doing that the best advisory to ensure we obtain the broadest coverage and leverage through a competitive scale and competitive terms. And insurance essentially is like a life jacket. It's not something you want to really rely on, but if you need it, it should work and must work properly. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Christian.
Thank you.
And I would like to invite Mr. John Mavrak to give us a word about Peace City World Banking.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to take just 2 minutes, and I'm going to say that we are creating a Peace City World Bank, and this bank will be an international bank, and it will help fund projects, and it will help create financing. It will arrange small business loans. It will create small startup loans for, and work with angel investors. And it will work in regions that aren't serviced by banks. And there's many of those around the world. Just to give you an idea, we can give loans to people who are genius people who can't get a loan from traditional banks. So if I'm a young person and I can create a $3 billion app, but I can't go to the bank and get $5,000, then really the world is missing something. So what we're trying to do is actually create a bank that we can align with our projects, that we can align in our cities, and that we can link across the world, and that all citizens of the world can benefit from this bank, investors can invest in this bank, and we can actually work together. So this is coming this year, and it's just a heads up. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, John. Thank you very much, Christian. Thank you very much, Lin. The last panelist is from Iraq, and now Iraq is connected. So please, put Iraq on the screen. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Can you hear us? Ahlan wa sahlan. We are very proud to have you with us.
We're glad to be here today with you, and we shall seize this opportunity to talk about the National Investment Commission by Dr. Nejia, Chairman of the National Investment Commission of Iraq. Your Excellency.
Thank you, gentlemen, and thank you to have us in this meeting. Actually, it is a good opportunity to get these conferences and share the ideas between each side. Our view and vision for this conference, we can say that we can manage meetings here in Baghdad very soon. How to do the master plan for the new cities, and actually we have the areas for this project, and we can do a good type of master planning which is moderate, and you can say intelligent city that can give the opportunity for the person, the Iraqi person, to live easily in such cities. The areas of the lands are available across the Iraq, so we can have such projects shortly in Iraq, inshallah. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your contribution.
I'm also producer to you, the Vice Chairman, Mr. Salah Mohammed, and maybe he will also share some ideas with you.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for inviting us to this conference. We will be very happy and appreciate you joining together to build peace in Iraq. We are happy to send invitation to your excellencies to meet Iraq and starting a negotiation for this project. It will be benefit for both sides. We have many opportunities in Iraq. We have a big project funded by the biggest Korean company, will be the name of Basmaya City. Now we can join some photos for this project. And we will be happy to build another project like this, more than bigger. We have available more lands in the whole Iraq. In Basra, which will be the south of Iraq, there's a good opportunities to build a smart city like Salamanca and Spanish and other countries all over the world. We are happy again to be work together in Iraq. Next meeting will be held by National Investment Commission in Baghdad, and we are ready to invite more investors for all of the world. Thank you very much again to support the Iraqi for this moment. We live in Iraq and we will happy work together. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
can show some shots from Smile project, which is very promising and can be the same as the ideas you are bringing to the ideas we have understood that you might be having in mind just to bring to Iraq.
Thank you very much. The voice is not that clear, so we will communicate with you in writing afterwards. Thank you very much for your contribution.
The special thing of this project is payment mechanism, which enabled it to be affordable to middle-class citizens and below, because they are sold with only 10% down payment and monthly installments for the rest of the price, which is considered a good one compared to the quality of buildings. Such cities have proved to be successful in Iraq. So we are looking forward to achieving similar projects or even more advanced ones, aiming at solving housing crises, reducing traffic jams, creating jobs, starting smaller projects within, and eventually better distribution for population, economy, and social life.
Yeah, thank you very much for your message. Your message is received. We would like to keep connected with you and exchange in writing. And if you could, if we could coordinate for a conference call next week, that would be great. Thank you very much for contributing to our conference.
Thank you.
And we will have a dedicated communication to Iraq and to smart cities in Iraq.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Have a good afternoon. So now, before going for lunch, I know it is getting late, I would like to invite Dr. Hani from Saudi Arabia. He is the chairman of the Supreme Council for Arab African Economy, for a short word, and I hope the production is going to project his speech translated to English. Thank you very much. Dr. Hani, the floor is yours.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. حضرات السادة الكرام، يسعدني وأعضاء المجلس الأعلى للاقتصاد العربي الأفريقي أن نتوجه اليوم بمدينة سلامنكا الأسبانية للمشاركة في فعاليات مؤتمر مدن السلام بحضور نخبة من الأطر العليا وعلى رأسهم السيد جون مافريك والسيد رياض توكابري والسيد منير وجميع فرق شركات عالم مدن السلام والسادة أعضاء محافظة سلامنكا، إضافة إلى نخبة من المستثمرين المتميزين. أعزائي الحضور، تأسس المجلس الأعلى للاقتصاد العربي الأفريقي ليكون جسراً يربط بين كل دول القارة الإفريقية والعالم العربي اقتصادياً، وليكون قاطرة المستثمرين في هذه الدول لينتقلوا من الاستثمار المحلي إلى الاستثمار الدولي. تهدف هذه المنظمة إلى ترسيخ نظام الاقتصاد بقوة واستيعاب كافة التوجهات الاقتصادية والصناعية والتجارية العامة لجميع الدول دون استثناء أو تمييز. كما يضع المجلس نصب عينيه أهداف الأمم المتحدة 2030، وخاصة في مجال تحقيق التنمية المستدامة في الدول الإفريقية والشرق الأوسط وفي العالم ككل. لذلك يشجع المجلس رجال الأعمال والمستثمرين على الاستثمار في مجالات وقطاعات مختلفة على غرار الصحة كبناء المستشفيات المتخصصة، والتعليم كبناء مدارس وجامعات متخصصة، والمجال الاجتماعي من خلال العمل على تمكين النساء الشابات صاحبات المشاريع الصغيرة وتوفير سوق لترويج منتجاتهن ومحاولة إدماجهن في السوق العالمية، وتمكين الشباب من خلال تمويل ودعم الابتكار الحديث في كافة العلوم وعلى رأسها التكنولوجيا والذكاء الاصطناعي. ولضمان تحقيق هذه الأهداف يملك المجلس الأعلى للاقتصاد العربي الأفريقي خبراء من مختصين من كلا الجنسيات، من كل الجنسيات، ويشرفون على مكاتب متخصصة تسهر على تنفيذ هذه الأهداف من خلال صياغة برامج عمل واضحة على غرار مكاتب الأسرة والطفل ومكاتب المرأة ومكاتب الشباب. ومن أبرز نشاطاتها تقديم دورات تكوينية في فن القيادة والريادة وبعث وتطوير المشاريع الاقتصادية والتسويق والذكاء الاصطناعي. حضرات السادة الحضور الكرام، إن ما يشهده عصرنا من تطور تكنولوجي وبروز وسائل اتصال حديثة لا تكف عن إفحامنا بوسائط جديدة ساهمت في كسر الحواجز والحدود بين البلدان، مما ساهم في خلق تبادل ثقافي مميز وحتى في المجال الاقتصادي. ورغم أن عمليات التبادل التجاري كانت قائمة منذ العصور الأولى، إلا أننا اليوم نعيش في عالم تحول إلى قرية اقتصادية صغيرة. وربما تواجدنا اليوم في مدينة سلامنكا بأسبانيا لأكبر دليل على ذلك. نحن الذين نختلف ثقافياً وفكرياً ربما، ولكن نلتقي في كل ما هو إنساني ومشترك. نلتقي في حب وتطوير الذات والسعي نحو النهوض باقتصاد بلداننا واقتصاد العالم ككل. نحن الذين تجمعنا أهداف الأمم المتحدة 2030، والتي تسعى إلى خلق مدن وأوطان يطيب فيها العيش لكل مواطنيها من خلال القضاء على الفقر ومحو الأمية وتوفير الحد الأدنى الذي يجعل حياة كل إنسان على وجه الأرض كريمة وسعيدة. إن المجلس الأعلى للاقتصاد العربي الأفريقي سادتي الكرام لا يشرفه أن يكون شريكاً وحليفاً لشركة عالم مدن السلام. هذا المشروع الذي يكتسب صبغة مدن سلام ذكية مستدامة واجب العمل عليها بوصفها عنصراً رئيسياً للتفاعل والاندماج الاجتماعي والصحي والتعليمي والرفاهية والتبادل الاقتصادي والثقافي، وذلك من خلال خلق فضاءات عامة آمنة ومفتوحة للجميع وخضراء وآمنة. ولا يمكن تحقيق هذه النقطة النوعية أو النقلة النوعية ببناء مدن السلام بالمواصفات التي ذكرناها إلا من خلال تكاتف جهود كل الحاضرين ووضعنا يداً على يد في مع شركائنا وأصحاب المبادرات الرئيسية السادة شركاء مدن السلام وشركائها وحلفائها من نخبة الشركات والبنوك والصناديق الاستثمارية والمستثمرين ورجال الأعمال. السادة الحضور، إن المجلس الأعلى للاقتصاد العربي الأفريقي يضع بين أيديكم كل علاقاته الدبلوماسية بجميع حكومات الدول العربية والأفريقية، وذلك لبناء مدن سلام ذكية ومستدامة، كما يضع كل علاقاته الاقتصادية برجال الأعمال والمستثمرين والشركات للمساهمة في الأهداف المرسومة والمشتركة مع شركة مدن السلام. ختاماً، أجدد ترحيبي وأعبر لكم عن سعادة المجلس الأعلى للاقتصاد العربي الأفريقي بتواجده بينكم وتقاسم الفرحة معكم بافتتاح مشروع مدن السلام سليمانكا. شكراً لكم.
جزاك الله خير. الآن. Now we are going to invite Dr. Hani and Mr. John Mavrak and Dr. Nejia Gharbi for a short ceremony, since the Supreme Council of Arab African Economy is going to make a gift to Peace City World.
time when we heed a certain call, when the world must come together as one. There are people dying. Oh, when it's time to lend a hand to life, the greatest gift of all. We can't go on pretending day by day that someone somewhere will soon make a change.
You are the Messi of the day.
We all a part of God's great big family. And the truth, you know, love is all we need. We are the children.
Sheikh Mavrak. Thank you very much. Congratulations to the Supreme Council for Arab African Economy. Congratulations to Peace City World. Thank you very much for your attention. Now is the time to go for lunch. So wish you bon appetit. And we will start again at 3. Is that okay? Thank you very much, Lin.